Welcome everybody to Off the Cuff. I am Adam Banks. Thank you for listening to the show. Coming at you live from Nicholasville, Kentucky. And in the studio, I have Jory Conaster and Chad Rainwater with me. Guys, how's it going?
It's going good, man. Yourself?
Oh, going pretty good. Just loving life right now because we are getting basketball a little bit early. The UK is down in the Bahamas playing some good old basketball. So life is good. Have you been watching any of the games?
Oh yeah, I watched the first two, and it's about to be a fun basketball season. So I think Kentucky's going to ultimately end up with that championship at the end of the year. At least that's what I hope for.
You know, and I'm going to go and be bold. Right at the beginning of the podcast, I'm going to go ahead. I've said it to you off the air, and I'm going to go ahead and say it on the air. Kentucky's going to go 40-0, Chad. 40-0.
Don't start that yet. Don't start it.
Oh, I'm starting it.
No, man. I mean, I don't know if this team will be as good as our 2015 team that almost went 40-0, but as soon as you start that, and as soon as the media starts that, it puts the target on their back. We know how that goes. I mean, even with the 2014 team, people were saying, "Oh, they're going 40-0." In 2015, said the same thing. Just let it play out. Just see where it goes.
It puts a target on our back, but have you seen our talent? I don't think there's any error. I don't think there's anywhere where we can do any wrong.
I don't even think there's a target on our back. You're going to be the preseason number one team. You're going to be the number one team playing the number two team, Duke, starting out. That's going to tell you a lot more about the season. I think we can beat Duke in that first game. I just don't see anybody in the SEC who's going to be able to compete with us. I mean, it's just size and speed and shooting. You know, every position is maxed out, and there's not just one at every position.
Yeah, we have every position, like you said, was maxed out. I'm very impressed with the way that P.J. Washington has changed his body, changed his whole look. He's been in the gym, I feel like, since the season has ended. I didn't even recognize who he was when he came on the television.
Go ahead.
Different player, a lot of it's because of hair, but I mean, it's like you said, his body. I mean, it's just last year he was just bulked up. He was just a big muscular dude. Now you can tell he's toned down a little bit, and he's put all of his weight in all the right places, and he just looks basketball ready.
Yeah, so I was going to say the same thing Banks said. I didn't even recognize him in the first game I watched, but I did realize that he can shoot free throws now. It looks like he's practiced on his free throws. He's hit a lot down there in the Bahamas, and You would think that in the offseason that's something he had to work on.
Exactly, because you can't sleep at night knowing that you lost in the Sweet 16 because of his free throws. I mean, he did play good the entire tournament, but those free throws is what ultimately killed Kentucky in the Sweet 16. And P.J. Washington, he's not going to let it happen again. He's been practicing. I don't think Cal was going to let him have it happen again. So he's probably put him at the line and made him constantly shoot free throws all throughout the offseason.
I would hope so. So he definitely you have to feel bad leaving that Kansas State game in the NCAA tournament knowing you missed, 14 free throws or something like that? So,
yeah, I think he missed, I think it was about 12, and we lost by 3 or 5? We lost by 3, didn't we?
Something ridiculous like that. It was something that free throws could have made the difference on.
Just a couple of them.
Yeah. Another player that I'm very excited to watch is Nick Richards. I think he's a completely different player than he was last year. Last year, it's like he had butter all over his hands. He could not hang on to the ball. But now it's like watching a completely different player. A second year has done him good.
Second year's definitely done him good. I still don't think he's going to be the player this year Kentucky fans are going to try to hold him to a standard of being, but he definitely looks a lot better. He looks a lot more comfortable, and like they were saying on TV, he's just got his head up. His head's up, and he actually looks just confident in there with what he's doing.
Another player coming back is Brad Calipari. And Brad Calipari, fan of the show. He's been on Off the Cuff. Check out that interview if you haven't listened to it. And the thing about Brad, hey, listen, I'm going to have to talk good about him because he's the only UK player to ever come on the show. I think he's going to be someone who's not going to see much playing time. This is the best team that's ever been at Kentucky that he's been on. So I think his playing time is going to be limited for sure. And we also have another kid in the audience. We got Chad's first son, Cannon, in the studio. Cannon, how's it going? Good? Pretty good?
Yeah,
good. He's already got his podcasting style on. He's already speaking in the podcast. Listen at him.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've mentioned him a couple of podcasts. I guess the last podcast I was on, you asked me how old I was, or how old he was, and here he is.
How old is he?
He's a year now. He was a year last week.
A year last week?
Yeah, he was a year old last week.
Yeah. And when do babies usually start talking?
I mean, he can say a couple things. He
But
said
start like...
Dada and Nana, but I think he means mama.
Well,
But
when would he be able to come on like the show and actually have a conversation?
I don't know. I would probably say around 3, maybe.
Is that when that happens?
I'm pretty sure around 2 he'll be speaking a lot, but probably a lot of it will not make a lot of sense. So
Was his first words Calipari?
yes,
That's his first words, Calipari.
it's actually Kentucky Wildcats. Those are his first words.
Or was it Stone Cold Steve Austin? What was it? I don't know what it was. I hope you're raising him right. I hope you have introduced him to the network.
We haven't watched much of it yet, but once it gets into my wrestling season, towards like the winter time, my down season, we'll turn it on. But before we get off topic of the returning players, I guess going back to Brad. Yeah, you said you don't think he'll get a lot of playing time this year,
Right.
The only way I would see him getting playing time is if and I think Cal's already ruled this out, is the platoon. I think the 10th player, Jamal Baker's hurt right now.
Yeah.
So, which I mean, it doesn't really matter because by the time the season starts, he'll be healthy. But that would be the only time if we had a player injured and if Cal went to the platoon. I think he'd be better 10th man or he'd be in that second rotation. But
Think about what you said. You said the 10th player, Jamal Baker. Like, the 10th player. Think about how talented and deep Kentucky has to be to call that guy the 10th player off the bench.
I believe they said last year he was our best shooter.
Yeah.
They're saying he's supposed to be the best shooter this year, too. They're saying he's lights out.
Speaking of returning players, my favorite player is Quade Green. And I like Quade because he reminds me a lot of Tyler Eulis. He's a short little point guard. He, I think, is a true point guard.
See, I think the only thing that compares him to Tyler Eulis is their height. I don't think he has very good court vision.
You don't?
No, I'm not a big fan of Quade Green. So
Really? Quade never disappointed me last year. I think he come in big on the times that he was needed.
I don't know any time that Quade just didn't disappoint me.
Oh, he dominated the SEC tournament.
There for a while, remember when he put the glasses on? He was playing pretty well, and that was before Gilgeous Alexander stepped up and became our definite true point guard.
Yeah.
But I never had any problems with Quade. The only thing that he did wrong was, and it wasn't really wrong, but I think he took a 3 with like 8 seconds to go in that Kansas State game, and it was no players even set up a corner 3, just shot it up. But I mean, if he would have made that, I'd be speaking differently of him right now. But I don't mind Quade. I mean, I don't think he'll start. I think that unless he plays a 2,
I think he will start. I think he's going to start at the 2 because he can play off the ball. But I think you're going to be talking about Quade Green being a returning player for years to come on the podcast. So
that's fine. We need.
I'm okay with that. That's why I like Quade so much, and that's why I went ahead and said he's my favorite because I think he is going to be a 4-year player. Now that is going to be the one player that's going to have a question mark above his head on who's going to start. Is it going to be Quade? It's up in the air. It's going to be between him and forgive me, because when you're a UK fan, it's hard to know the roster off the top of your head because the players change.
Ashton Higgins.
But Ashton Higgins, yes. But if we're talking about returning players, we got to mention Johnny David. I mean, the walk-on who now has a scholarship with Kentucky.
Did he get a scholarship?
He's finally on scholarship. So
do we have any walk-ons right now then?
I don't think so.
Because they got Kenny Payne's son, and he's a scholarship
He's hurt.
player.
I don't know if he's redshirt.
He tore his ACL last year in high school.
Who's
so
Kenny
he's not
Payne's
playing.
son?
Zane Payne, something like that.
Okay.
So we got two coaches that have kids on the team.
I wonder what that's like coaching your son. Do you think that causes you? Do you think that's more difficult to coach your son, or do you think it's pleasurable to coach your son?
Absolutely, but look at the player's perspective. Like, do you want to be the coach's son? I mean, yeah, it's great to play for your father, but look at all. I don't know.
The crap that you can get from fans.
Yeah, the crap you can get, like the other night in the Bombers game. Brad hadn't played a single minute, and then you see Calipari come down to the bench and talk to Kenny Payne, and then 5 seconds later, Brad's in, which I think Cal said that it had nothing to do with anything. But, yeah, I don't know. But Brad did hit a 3. Yeah. And Cal didn't even make a slight facial expression.
I don't think he does that on purpose. I don't think he wants to put emphasis on when Brad does good, because I don't think he wants to make a difference, and I don't think he wants to bring attention I don't think Brad wants that. I don't think he wants Cal to jump up and be like, yeah, that's my boy. That's my
realistically,
son.
I don't think Brad's there to play. I mean, he's there to play basketball, of course, but Brad's ultimately at Kentucky with his dad and all these other great coaches to learn how to coach because that's what he wants to do for his career. He wants to be a basketball coach, whether it be high school, college, NBA, whatever. I don't know that, but I know he came to Kentucky to learn how to be a better basketball coach.
Yeah.
So
he's learning from the best.
Yeah, I mean, he's learning from some pretty good coaches.
Talking about our returning players again. It's a little different. We stopped talking about Johnny David, but I want to tell a funny story about, or not really a funny story, but a story that I had about the team. Can I share that story?
Yeah, go ahead.
So a couple months ago, we were at the movies and we were watching Uncle Drew, which I told you, but you should see that movie. It's a great movie. Excuse me.
And Cal's in the movie, right?
Apparently so. I didn't see him at all, but he's in the cast listing, I guess is what you call it.
Credits,
yeah. But so we're sitting there, and a bunch of guys walk in, like with hoodies on, hoods over their head, and they're pretty tall. So when you see tall players in Lexington, you assume they play some type of basketball. Well, some of them came and sit in front of us, and the only one that I recognized was Johnny David. Out of the whole team, I only recognized the worst player that was on our team. It was Johnny David, and I realized that was the UK basketball team. That's the only one I knew that was.
He's very recognizable.
Well, not really, but
I don't think so.
You don't, not really, but I just knew who that was. Like I just for whatever reason I noticed him and Brad. That's the only two I realized.
Yeah, I mean, come on though. If you saw Johnny David out in the mall, you wouldn't know who he was. If you saw him in the mall.
If I saw Johnny David walking down the street in front of my house tomorrow, I wouldn't have a clue who he was.
What about Brad?
Oh, I mean, of course I would know Brad. You know, you see Brad a lot more. You don't see much of Johnny David.
Here's the thing about Brad. We were talking about he's there to learn how to be a coach. He's not there to make it to the NBA because he's obviously not going to. Why does he always seem so sad and so disappointed and so irritated? Why don't he just enjoy being Brad Calipari?
I mean, he does have John Calipari for his dad. Like he's got that, might have that just like demeanor all the time of just where he's soaking in everything, but he just doesn't have any expressions for it. I mean, well, I guess I can't say that because Cal does jump around on the sidelines and get a little crazy.
Cal's got all kinds of expressions, but see, Brad, it's always like he's mad that he's not as good as these other people that are on playing for UK. He's mad because these are his peers, and it's like he wants to be as good as those guys, and he's not going to be. But get over it, man. You're Brad Calipari. You're a millionaire. You're set for life. Even if you don't go to the NBA, you're going to have a good life. Mm-hmm. Why not just enjoy it? And he always seems so upset. I'm just like, dude, people would kill just to have your lifestyle.
I mean, it's a rough life, though. You got to think, being a Kentucky basketball player, I mean, like, sometimes they got to do stuff like go to the Bahamas just to play basketball games. I mean, that's got to be a hard life.
They do. So have you guys enjoyed the basketball games in the Bahamas?
Yeah. So far, it's been good.
Yeah.
The first game was very frustrating. I think we shot 37% or something like that from the floor.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we just looked out of sync. We shot, I think we hit 2 threes, and it was a lot of growing up we had to do after that first game, just becoming more as a team, as one. I mean, Nick Richards had a great game that first game, and then Reed Travis had a lot of rebounds.
Travis, whew.
But other than that, I mean, nobody really looked good. Like fast break layups, stuff like that, we couldn't make anything.
I like these Bahama games because it gives us a chance to see what our team is going to be like, just in just a quick view of what our team could look like.
You said the 40-0 thing last time. You do realize the last team that went to the Bahamas and played was the 38-1 team.
I did not realize that.
So that was 4 years ago. So that was the last team because you get these tournaments. You're allowed to do these foreign tournaments every 4 years.
One of the reasons I say they're going to be 40-0 is because you can base that off how Cal is acting. Cal is back to how he was acting in 2015.
Oh, yeah.
He's cocky, he's swaggy, he's funny, he's acting crazy. When he gets on camera and he starts talking to these news anchors, he starts like saying what, like Stone Cold Steve Austin. After everything he says, he'll say what, or he'll be like, "We're in the Bahamas. It's August. What?" He'll say that. He's acting like he was acting in 2015. He only acts like that when he's confident. I think he only takes his teams to the Bahamas when he knows it's going to be a team that's going to be special.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. Is I only think he takes when he has a good team. He knows he has a good team. That's when he makes these trips to the Bahamas, like you said. Last time was 2015, or I guess it was 2014. It was 2014-15 season. He took a team. When they went to Canada as well. What team was that?
That would have been. It would have had to have been 4 years before that as well.
So 2000. It wasn't John Wall's team, was it?
It had to have been because you're only allowed to do the foreign tournaments every 4 years.
It might have been John
No, I
Wall's
think
team.
they went to Hawaii.
No, that's the Maui tournament. That's the Maui invitation.
Yeah, we did the
They
Maui.
went
That's
to
the Maui
Canada
invitation.
1 year.
We didn't. It was like his first or second year there. We went. I remember what you're talking about. We played all Canadian teams when we were up there.
Okay, we'll say it was the 2000 John Wall team. So his three,
I think it might
his
have been
four
the year
best
after
teams
that.
have been to these summer trips, and yeah, he knows when he's got a good team, and he also, and like you said, also he's got that Vince McMahon swag back
He does. He's got that swagger back.
because he knows how well his team's going to do. So I guess we'll see. I don't think this is going to be a team like the past we had in 2013, 2014 when we all assumed they were going to be good, but wasn't really sure, and they turned out to be okay. I think this is this is going to be a special team. This may, and I think I said earlier that this won't be as good as the 2015 team, and maybe they won't be, but this is going to be a special team. If we don't make it to the championship this year, I will be really surprised.
I'll stand by my 40-0 statement. We could lose.
I'll stand right next to you. Don't worry.
Thank you. We could lose, but I do think I would put $1 million on it that we'd win the national championship this year. Who's gonna beat us?
I mean, the closest thing to us. I mean, you got Virginia. Got a lot of players back, but like you're losing. Villanova didn't really bring anything in. They lost everything.
Right.
Duke's got a lot of young talent. I mean, they've got some older leadership, but I mean, not really. I mean, they didn't. They kind of lost. They're doing the one and done thing, just like us now. And then Kansas is going to have a great ball team this year. But ultimately, I think with the mix of these three people is going to give Kentucky its 9th national championship. That's going to be P.J. Washington and Reed Travis's leadership down low.
Yeah.
And they're going to be able to bully people in the paint whenever they want to. And then the fearlessness of Tyler Hero. And that's going to be the one thing that's going to put us over. He's the reincarnation of Rex Chapman.
He is. He's the
And
second coming of Rex Chapman. We've got him.
When you need points, there it is.
Yeah. Why do you think that Tyler Hero is going to be the most popular player? Because you're getting that vibe that he is going to be the most popular player this year. Why do you think that is?
I think it's because just coming out of high school, he had a lot of comparisons to Devin Booker when it came to his recruiting when he was, 75 in the nation, and he was originally committed to Wisconsin. He left Wisconsin to come to Kentucky, and then he gradually moved up the boards, and he's got that chip on his shoulder. And I think everybody knows he's got that chip on his shoulder. And then, I mean, who doesn't love a shooter? If you got a lights-out shooter that can pull it from anywhere, that's what basketball's about right now.
I don't mean anything by this, but do you think him being white has anything to do with his him being a fan favorite in the state of Kentucky?
No.
You don't?
No, because, I mean, Tyler Ulis wasn't white. Tyler Ulis is one of my favorite players I've ever seen at Kentucky. I mean, just that basketball IQ, and you can tell that Tyler Hero has it. I mean, he has the IQ, and he just wasn't as highly touted as some of these other guys, but he's our most fearless player on that team, and he's the best shooter on that team. And he's not afraid to go out there and keep up with these, top 10 recruits.
Yeah.
So he might have been, I think he was number 30 on ESPN's final rankings, but he had to work his way up there. So I think he's got a lot to prove, and he's going to.
I love watching him play. I mean, he can shoot the lights out. Do you think it has anything to do with him being white, or do you think it's just because of his pure talent that people are liking?
I think a little bit of it has to do because he is white. I mean, when's the last time we were so excited about a white guy? I mean, going back to, I guess, George, but we weren't even excited about him. He just happened like the middle of the season. But when's the last time, before the season even started, that we were so excited about a white, especially a white guard? Like, I don't even know how. That's why he's getting so much comparison to Rex Chapman.
Wilcher people wasn't excited about him from the beginning. People wasn't excited about Jared Polson from the beginning. But this kid, Tyler Hero, is white, and he can hang with anybody in college basketball. I mean, I do think that, I don't mean anything by me saying, him being white is why he's a fan favorite. But I just think it's so rare when you have a white guy come play for Kentucky and is as good as he is. I think that's rare. So I think that could be a big factor of why he could be white. Not to take anything away from his talent. if I had to choose my favorite freshman in UK basketball, I'm going to have to say it's Tyler Hero.
Oh, right now, he's my favorite. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
On that team, out of the freshmen that came in, like, he's just that player that sticks out. There's
Yeah.
no other player that sticks out on the team like Tyler Hero does.
Yeah, we want another Rex Chapman.
Oh,
too.
I've been looking forward to Tyler Hero for, God, a year now.
Yeah.
I mean, since he committed to Kentucky. And
Yeah.
it was just, you get on the internet and there's so much hype about the potential that he has. I mean, nothing like having a guy that can come out there and drop 50 on a team. I mean, who doesn't like that whenever you have the Jody Meeks, 54 points, or the Malik Monk 47-point games? Like, those are fun.
And talk about his commit, just even that, how he committed. He was committed to Wisconsin for a while, and then he said, screw this, I'm going to Kentucky during his senior season. So all of his senior season, he had to deal with haters, people from Wisconsin, because where's he from? Wisconsin. He had to deal with people hating on him, yelling at him, booing him at his own games in Wisconsin. And that right there, because he was a heel coming into Kentucky, it makes me like Hero a little bit more, because I'm always a fan of the heels.
Well, this is going to be a little bit off the Tyler Hero conversation right now, but the one thing that showed me another good, solid thing about this team that makes me really think that the 40-0 thing is more in reach than it's not. I mean, whenever you see a player go down, if you're watching the game tonight, if one of our players go down, you will see the two closest people full-on sprint to them to get them up. We haven't had that in years. We haven't had that since the Carl Towns, Tyler Eulis year. And, I mean, they were going around helping each other every time they could. But I'm not saying we have, like, bad relationships on our team or anything like that. But you don't – with these Kentucky teams, they're together for a year pretty much, and that's it.
Yeah.
And you can see this team, they're there for each other. And they're playing – I mean – just running over to help their teammates up. You don't see that very often. That's one of the things that the other night I got really excited to see that.
Is there another player besides Hero that's an incoming freshman that you're not even going to say incoming freshman, let's just say new player on the team that you're excited to watch?
Me personally, Keldon Johnson. He came in, I mean, he was our most highly touted recruit. It was either him or EJ Montgomery. I'm excited about both of them, but Keldon Johnson he has the potential to be our alpha dog. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he's going to be this year. Like, I think out of all the potential on the team, he has the most potential on the team. But I think Tyler Hero is going to be our alpha dog. When it's all said and done. But Keldon Johnson is the next best thing.
Well, Keldon he's majoring in agriculture, so you've got to be an alpha dog if you major in agriculture. I mean, I just imagine him with a dipski for his lipski in his mouth playing basketball. So
all these players are named off. It's really amazing how great this team's going to be. I mean, so many. We're just now talking about Keldon Johnson, who's possibly our best player, and we've mentioned him, but we haven't really talked about Reed Travis. We've said a couple of things about him, but
that's what I was going to say. I was going to say my most exciting to watch besides Hero is he's not a freshman. Reed Travis, he is what 20.
He's a man.
What is he?
He's
30?
a man.
He's a fifth-year senior.
Yeah, he's like 35 years old. He's coming into Kentucky to play for him. He's from Stanford University.
He's smart. He's built like a freaking bulldozer.
Smart.
He looks like Blake Griffin out there on the court. Like, as big as he is. When was the last time we had a guy this big, like, muscular wise? Like, dude is a
They were trying to make comparisons the other night, and I mean they were saying some names, and I don't think there is a comparison. I mean, you have Patrick Patterson. Like he was Patterson when it came to his junior year. He was pretty stout of a man, but I mean you haven't seen a guy that was just his chest and his shoulders are just so wide and so big, and he's gonna be. College teams aren't going to be able to handle him in the paint. He's going to hurt some of these boys.
I think his intelligence coupled with his body is a dangerous combination because there's something about a player that has high IQ. He's from Stanford. His brother played ball at Harvard. His family is Ivy League. So there's something about somebody who has a good basketball IQ and has a body like he does. Mm-hmm. He's going to be a sight to see.
Yeah, wasn't he a former Pac-10 Player of the Year?
Yeah, I mean, he was a former McDonald's All-American. I think he was a Pac-10 preseason Player of the Year this year. Or that's what he was going to be, the preseason Player of the Year in the Pac-10 conference. So.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Reed Travis play. And he was another one of the guys who sit in front of us. Like, he sit like diagonal from me.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he was big. He was a big dude. It's still pretty cool.
And it's going to be nice because you're going to be able to match him up with I mean, you can play him at center and play PJ at power forward, or you can play Reed Travis at power forward and Nick Richards at center, or you can decide you want to go out and run a small ball lineup and put E.J. Montgomery, who's another highly touted recruit, and he can shoot from outside, so you can put him in there with Reed Travis at center. And, I mean, there's just so many. There's so much depth, especially with the big guys and the guards, that you can run so many different sets with these players, and you can play so many different ways with them. I mean, this is the most open Cal's had to just – he can run anything he wants to.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you just said, last year if we had a guy who our team was so like our roster was so small last year that if we had a guy that he was shooting but he wasn't playing defense, he couldn't play defense, couldn't guard anybody, Cal couldn't pull him because there's no one else to put in. This year, I mean, we're stacked like every position, two deep at every position. So if someone's not playing good defense or whatever, Cal can put the other one in, and we're not going to lose a beat, I don't believe. And on the depth of our team, this having 10 or 11 guys play, not all of them are going to get drafted. You're going to have a bunch of those returners next year.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see who all that will be.
That's a dangerous team next year if we get most of these players back.
Exactly.
I think you're going to lose a lot of these boys
to the NBA
draft
have
this year.
10 draft picks. You're going to have at least a couple of. I mean,
I'm saying you're looking at least 6. And I'm saying probably 6 in the first round.
How does Cal convince these players to come here? He said that he's not doing the platoon anymore. So there's going to be these great players that is on this roster that's not going to get any playing time.
Like they said on Thursday night, Devin Booker played 20 minutes a game. Devin Booker just scored 70 points like 2 years ago in an NBA game.
Yeah.
Karl Towns played 21 minutes a game. He was the number 1 overall pick in the draft.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis played, he didn't play full games.
No.
Anthony Davis had people behind him. These players, the only year really that they could sit there and just Cal could run his boys was the John Wall year because it was his first year. But ever since then, I mean, he's had enough depth. I mean, there's been a couple years, the Nerlens Noel injury that really made people step up. But Cal's always, his players have low minutes. And, I mean, they're not going to be the top scorers. I mean, they're not going to be the top assist leaders in the nation or the top rebounders because they're not playing the minutes, but their potential shows. So,
yeah.
And it's been proven. Their draft picks, their draft stocks took a hit at all. It's actually gained because you can sit here and I played 20 minutes and this is what I did. And that's what the NBA scouts judge off of. So, I mean, they're not sitting here and be like, all right, you played 40 minutes, you killed your body all year, and we're going to draft you because you scored 32 points a game. So, I think they have more draft stock by playing less minutes at Kentucky. So,
I think the eye test, too, goes a long way. I think these NBA scouts are smart enough to know, and they've been in the business a long time, to know that just because they're not getting a lot of playing time, they still know that they're good. And they still know that they can handle an NBA game and they can hang with the big boys in the NBA. So, yeah, I think that really, if you go to Kentucky, they know that if you're only playing 12, 15 to 20 minutes a game, that doesn't mean that you are no good. You're just somebody who can obviously share the ball, share playing time, and can be a team player.
I mean, Devin Booker, like I said, 20 minutes a game, he's still winning the lottery. So, I mean, go out there and play your game. And if you're good at the game, then you play at Kentucky. All the lights are on you. All the cameras are on you. You're getting noticed.
Absolutely. Well, I just wanted to do a little podcast, wanted to dedicate a show to where we could preview Kentucky basketball before the season starts. Now, it's funny because we're previewing Kentucky basketball and football season's not even started.
That's very true.
But here in the state of Kentucky, we are all crazy about basketball, so we just wanted to get this podcast in. But before we sign off, let me just go around the panel here and see how everybody's doing. Just what's going on, what's new in your life. I just want to say, for me, I'm pretty excited because...
I would be too.
Yes.
I would be too.
Everybody, my friends know about this, and I'll tell the podcast this. I am 100% online as a teaching instructor now. I don't have to go into campus, so I can sit in my bathrobe. You know how comfortable bathrobes are, Chad.
Yes, I do. Bathrobe.
You can sit in your bathrobe.
House coat.
Yeah, or your house coat. And grade papers. Wouldn't that be nice? Have flip-flops on, wear your house coat, grade a few papers. Not even have to get up out of the house, drink you a cup of coffee.
Sounds like an ideal job to me.
It is. Getting paid the same. Everything's still the same. But I'm loving it. So that's That's one good thing that's going on in my life. But Jordan, what about you, my man?
Man, it's just it's a lot of work. That's all I can really say about
Just
life
working
right
a
now.
lot.
Just working a lot. So I got another vacation coming up. I know I took that month off. We went to the beach, and
Yeah.
it's been a nice summer. So I've had a lot of time off this summer. So I'm just kind of soaking it up right now and
Man, it's been a good summer.
taking lots of vacations and working. When I'm working though. So
Yeah.
60, 70-hour weeks, just about every week right now. But I'll take it.
And we also have a ticket to Myrtle Beach with our name on it.
We do have a free flight to
with,
Myrtle Beach.
with our name on it. So we need to cash that
I
in.
kind of have a week coming off here soon, so
Just throwing that out there.
it's a couple weeks away.
And you can grade papers from down there in Myrtle Beach.
I really could. So,
I mean, you're all online now. Yeah, we could just go to Myrtle Beach for a couple days. I mean, I'm off on my birthday. So
when's
we
your
could-
birthday?
September 6th.
That's
I'm off that week.
less than a month. All right. Well, let me write that
And
down.
it's Labor Day weekend. It'll be Labor Day weekend a couple days before my birthday.
Cool. What about you, Chad? What's going on with you?
I just recently started a new job about a month. Actually, it's been a couple months ago, but I don't get to tell everybody in the podcast.
You started a new
job.
position?
Well, yeah, just a new position.
Yes.
Got a promotion. I'm still with the same company. I'm in the accounting department now. And I also found out that we'll be having a little girl in January.
That is true.
Haven't spilled the beans on that yet on the podcast.
Have you picked a name yet?
We have not. We keep going back and forth. We thought we had one picked out last week, but she's kind of on the fence about it. Doesn't really want to say yes or no. So I don't know. We'll wait and see. I think by this time last year. No, wait, no, not by this. No. Let me start over.
By this time, the last pregnancy.
Yeah, by this time last pregnancy, we had already had a name picked out. Like we picked out a name in March, and he was born in August. So yeah, we just it's hard. It's much harder for a second child.
Girl names, I feel
And
like,
a girl
are harder.
name, yes. And I'm also going to be losing my man cave, which that kind of sucks.
That is a little
My room's getting
frustrating.
taken over now by girls' clothes, but that's all right. I still have a living room, so and a shed. So
I would
it'll
turn
work
that.
out.
I would turn that shed into my man cave. I would put a nice big 55 plasma screen TV.
Well, we
in
have an
there.
extra TV, but the problem is there's not enough room, and like I have all my mower, and we have some of Cannon's toys and everything, and it's just I don't know. It'll work out. It'll work out.
Well, cool. Glad everybody here at the table has got a lot of good things going on in their life right now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening to another episode of Off the Cuff and for listening to this pre-season basketball show where we're talking about UK sports. Chad, Jordan, thank you for being on the show. Ladies and gentlemen,
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us. It's nice to be back on.
it is. It's always good to have
fun.
you.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I know. It's always fun to sit down and do it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the show. I will see you in the next episode.
Look, I just flipped the switch. Flip. I don't know nobody else that's doing this.